Hi, in this video I'm going to be showing you WebLogic JMS flow control. In other words, JMS throttling, which enables you to slow down JMS producers under certain conditions. For example, when a particular number of messages has been reached or a number of bytes has been reached, you can slow down the production of messages. Let's start by adding a JMS server. Let's click new, let's call it a demo server and assign it to the target admin server in this case. Then I'm going to add a JMS module, call it demo module, and also assign it to the same server. Let's add straight away some resources and let's start with a sub deployment. I'm going to call the sub deployment demo ds and I'm going to assign it to the JMS server. Let's then add a queue. Alright, let's call it demo queue and the JNDI name. Next, assign it to the sub deployment. Assign it to the sub deployment. Finish. And that's it. Activate changes. And we're done with setting up the basic JMS structure. Next, we'll take a look at the code. The code involves a message-driven bean on the server and a Scala standalone client as the producer. And we'll first run this without flow control enabled. Let's take a first look at the code. The code involves a message-driven bean on the server listening to the tuning queue. And what we have to do is we have to set up a message-driven bean pool size of 1. Otherwise, WebLogic will just increase the number of beans in the pool and we will not be able to demonstrate it so easy. This is the script I'll be using. Let's run Maven package. Now what you will be seeing also is that the client will produce messages much quicker than the server can handle by letting them sleep in different amounts. Let me deploy. Let's take a look. Is it there already? Nope. Let's go back. Almost done. Right, press F5. And let's take a look at the configuration of the bean. Let's take a look at the pool size, and as you can see, it's 1. Let's now take a look at the producer, which is a Scala client using the standard JMS API. And what it's doing, it's listening to the it's producing to the tuning queue, and it's sending 1,000 messages, and it's sleeping 100 milliseconds between the messages. The server is sleeping 1,000 milliseconds, so we have much slower consumption than production. Okay, let's. Oh, the client also uses a performance monitoring, JMX enabled, which is the performance utilities. So, and every time the message is sent, I'll increase the counter, and that gives me some statistics using JMX. Let's run. Before I run, let's run also JVisual VM, so we can monitor the MBean that we've just registered. So let me start up that. Here you go. And what I've done is, when the client starts, it gives me 10 seconds to actually find the MBean. So here we go. Let's go to JVisual VM. Oh, it's there. The demo main. Let's go to the MBean. The MBean is actually an available plugin for JVisual VM. There it is. And it already started. Now what you will see is that you will not see a beautiful 10 messages per second. That's probably also because I'm recording this video and there's actually an initial performance penalty there, and then slowly it goes up and it will probably leverage around 8 or 9, I'm guessing. Let's take a look. 7. Oh, should go up more. Take a look. There we go, 8. And I think it's just going to remain there a little bit. Yeah, that goes 8. It might go down a little bit again and go up a little bit. Here we go. It all is around that 8 messages per second, which shows you that the client is not being told to slow down at all. It's just keep on producing, and the fluctuation you see is due to the performance of my computer at this moment in time. I will let this run for a while. There you go, up again. I'll let this run for a while. I have 1,000 messages to send. Let's take a look. The fluctuation looks much bigger than it actually is because of the scale of the graph. It's really around that 8, as you can see. Let's take a look at the queue. Let's monitor the queue for a second here. Let me go module, and then to the queue. Let's go to monitoring, and then you can see the number of messages. There's one consumer, as you can see there. And I have 840. Now let me refresh. It goes up. Okay, it stopped. The client stopped because we hit 1,000 messages. Let me delete those messages using WLST. Okay, let's connect. All right, and let's go to the server runtime tree. And let's move to our queue. I've got it in my clipboard. There we go. Let me show you the operations that we have here. And then we see the operation here called delete messages. Let me run that. It takes a filter expression, which I will leave blank. So meaning all messages. There we go. And it deleted the messages. Next, we will set up the JMS flow control. Let me go to my module and first to the queue. And at the queue, we will go to thresholds and quotas. And here we will see four levels, upper and lower levels for the thresholds, and both messages and bytes. I will use the messages because that's easy to demonstrate. With 200 messages, this will trigger the flow control, and with 10 messages, it will stop flow control. Now, flow control is something that is enabled on the connection factory. So let me go to the connection factory. Looking at it. Here we go. First, observe flow control is enabled by default, and here we have 4 settings. The first is the maximum number of messages that is allowed to be sent by a producer under flow control, and I will set this to 10, and this is the absolute minimum. This will be reached from 10 to 1 within the flow interval, which I will be setting to 40 seconds, and then every 2 seconds I will adjust the throttle. Let me activate these changes and we're done. Let's now run it with throttling enabled. Remember, we have 1 bean in the pool. Remember, the server does 1 message per second and the producer produces 10 messages per second. Alright, let's run the client. Let's go to the MB. We have 10 seconds. It probably didn't start yet. There we go. We've got the 10-second interval, and it should start pretty. Okay, there we go. Okay, forget about the beginning, and there we go. A couple of messages. Now we have to wait until we reach 200 messages in the queue, so that throttling can kick in. We have to wait for that. Okay, yeah, there it is. So let's take a look at the console. Oh, this will add a couple more messages. So I'm guessing 220 messages. We're gonna 214 messages we're gonna see. There we go. So that means that the throttling kicked in, and there you go. You can already see drastic, slowdown in the producer. And we haven't set it to realistic numbers, but it's good enough for this demonstration. There we go. It will slowly move to 1 because we have such a fast producer compared to the consumer that it will actually go and reach 1 message per second, because it will never hit that lower threshold that we've set on the queue. So there we go. Oh, it's going to be a while until it reaches 1. I think we did 40 seconds in total to go from the max to the min. and then every 2 seconds it will be adjusted. So that's what you're looking at right now. So hopefully this presentation helps you to get introduced to JMS flow control on WebLogic 12c. By the way, the exact same thing works on previous versions of WebLogic. So if you're still working on an older version of WebLogic, like WebLogic 10, which was part of 11G, you can try the same thing as I have showed you here. So I'm going to leave you with this image. Watch it go. Wait until it goes to 1, and hopefully we'll see you soon again here on this channel with a next presentation from our side. Thank you very much.